RedZoneSports.Bet, the British home of American sports.
Hello, and welcome to the SportsHeads NFL Week 17 betting show, sponsored by RedZoneSports.Bet. Now it's that time of the season where teams bound for the playoffs like to rest their starters, or perhaps even blood some of the young talent on their roster. And here at the front office of RedZoneSports.Bet, we are no different. With Simon Milham and Sam Morgan wrapped in cotton wool for the playoffs, it's up to me to quarterback today's show. And I'm pleased today, I'm joined in the huddle by RedZone's very own NBA and Tinder expert, Nick Geltner. And our star wideout, our big white hope for next season. He's young, he's good looking, and like his beloved Jacksonville Jaguars, he's very confident to go deep in the new year. It's Josh Peacock from Gridiron Magazine. Thanks for coming, gents.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Right, we're a little bit different today. We've got no Simon for me to go head to head with. So I'm going to put my picks up, and these guys are going to tell you whether I'm making play calls like Kyle Shanahan or whether I'm making play calls like Hugh Jackson. So just all you've got to do is give me a thumbs up, thumbs down, tell the people why you think I'm an idiot or why I'm brilliant. So let's get on with the show, shall we? So the first game we've got Nick here as a Jets fan. The first game we've got is the Jets at the Pats. The line is 16.5 points. Jets are 5-10. The Pats are 12-3. I personally would bet on the Jets plus 16.5. As you all know, I always like a big line. What do you think, fellas?
Well, for me, I'm almost insulted it was that high as a Jets fan. I mean, I know that the Patriots are the Patriots, but this game, this is the Super Bowl for the Jets. Every year going in, this is the game they earmark as, they want to beat the Patriots. So 16.5 points, I think that's too much. I think the Patriots will win, but I don't think they'll score that. They'll cover 16.5.
I just think, for me, I mean, the game earlier in the season was quite close. I think there was one touchdown in it, and I just think that the Patriots will just go through the motions. Obviously, they can secure home field advantage for the playoffs with a win, and I just think it'll be a mechanical kind of fairly straightforward, no risks win for them. Note, obviously, they've got quite a few problems at running back. A lot of kind of did not practice this week, and I think that Dion Lewis is their only fit running back as of today. So that could be interesting.
Do you think that we're going to see Brian Hoyer at any point in the game? Do you think Bill Belichick's going to pull Tom Brady, or do you think he's going to do what Bill Belichick does and just whatever you expect him to do the opposite, and we'll end up having the starters up there and they'll blow him out? Or I mean, I don't. That's why I'm picking 16.5. But
yeah, I don't. That is my only fear, that the Patriots do get a big enough lead and then they do rest the guys, and then maybe that's where the Jets then come back into the game. But I don't know. I can't think of the last time the Jets got blown out by the Patriots. They're always close, and again, the division matchups are, they're usually hard-fought, close games. So I don't think we might see Hoyer, to be honest, just to rest Brady, but it's not going to impact the game.
And also, I mean, I know you're a Jets fan, so I'm singing to the choir here, but the Jets played the Saints hard. They beat Kansas. They beat the Jags. They actually seem to play up to their opposition. Now I know they've got Petty in at quarterback, and that's that's a different thing. But they've got a fairly established run game. The Pats are struggling against the run, so as long as that run game sort of gets some momentum, I think they'll keep it close. And also, with the news, we're going to get onto that game in a bit, but the news that it's likely that the Steelers are going to rest some starters, then actually it makes their job a lot easier. Bill Belichick can step on the gas if he needs to, but he won't want to be showing any special plays for the playoffs, will he? Or keep it?
No.
Okay, so that sounds like 2 thumbs up for me, which is obviously a scary start. If Simon was here, 16.5, he would definitely be backing the Pats minus 16.5 because he loves those big lines. So he's not here to argue. The one thing about that game, the one person I picked out is Jamal Adams up against the Gronk. I think I think Jamal Adams is looking great at safety, and unlucky not to go to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, I love the kid. I mean, that is the one thing the Jets had coming in, was a good defense, and I actually just don't know if will Gronk be playing in this one. I think he's the kind of guy that'll get rested.
Yeah, well, because he's so important to them. If they lose him, they've got no one else like him. So we're going on to the Browns versus the Steelers. Now, when I originally made this pick, the line was 11 points, and if we had just recorded the show on a Thursday like we normally do, I'd look like the cleverest man in the world, but we haven't. And now that Tomlin's announced that he's not going to play Bell, he's not going to play Roethlisberger, the line's come down to 6.5, I believe. So I still like, and I can hear people groaning. Our FD, he's married to a girl from Ohio, and he hates the Cleveland Browns. He says it's because the Cleveland Browns have cost her so much money, nothing to do with her family. So Dan, I'm sorry, I'm picking the Cleveland Browns. I think, again, if the Steelers are pulling players, the Browns are desperate not to be only the second ever team to go 16-0. I think Hugh Jackson said he's going to jump in Lake Erie if they lose, or if they win. Is it if they lose?
He said if they go 1-15 again, so they have to win to get that record.
Oh, okay. Well, then he's. I just think the game's going to be more to the Browns. I think that the defense has actually been very good, and if you're going to take out Roethlisberger and you're going to take out Bell, and then you're also going to have Tomlin probably trying to hide his plays. I think Tomlin's given up on trying to get, home field advantage throughout the playoffs. He's accepted their number 2 seed. He's not going to risk anyone. I think it's going to be pretty vanilla. I think the Browns have got a good chance to actually come and cover, and perhaps even get off that snide.
Whew. I thought they would win last week. So for me, they were going to go in 16. But I mean, again, this is their Super Bowl. There's nothing else to play for after this. So I think it'll be close. I don't think they're going to win though. But I do think it'll be, when it was the 11 points, I would have went with the Browns. But
so you like the Steelers to win by more than 6.5 points?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so you're going against me, Josh.
I think I think it's very possible that this could happen, this bet. But the only thing for me is how much the Browns want it.
Yeah.
What I've seen from them all season is that they're not really up for the fight. After being tipped by quite a few at the start of the season to maybe go something like 4 and 12 or whatever it might be. Sorry, 4 and 13. Wasn't it? I don't know how much they want it. Kaiser's continuing to make quite silly decisions. He doesn't really know if he's the starting quarterback or not week to week. They're a bit of a mess.
I agree with all of that stuff. I mean, Kaiser's. I've got some. He's been. I mean, the Steelers got 7 sacks last week. Right. But whether they have all the D in there in the first place, although actually they may need some practice still because they're still adjusting. I think it's not going to be an easy day for Sean Kaiser. He doesn't cope well with the pressure. I just don't trust that as the game goes into the second half. And if Tomlin looks up and sees the scoreboard at New England and sees that New England are controlling the game, I just think he pulls everyone out of there. And if the Browns are ever going to get off the snide, this is the game. So these guys are disagreeing with me. They're giving me a thumbs down for this one, but I'm still sticking with the Browns plus 6.5 points. Sorry, Dan Marks, but there we go. So we'll load up the next game and see what we think about that. Here we go. So next game is the Cincinnati Bengals at the Baltimore Ravens. The line is 9.5. Bengals are 6-9, Ravens are 9-6. Again, the Ravens. I think the Ravens are a dark horse. I think they were a dark horse a few weeks ago. That no one's going to want to play the Ravens. They've got a great defense, and I like. They're starting to score points now. They've got Ben Watson down the middle. They've got Danny Woodhead back, and they've got Mike Wallace as a deep threat. They're starting to score points in offense, but again, although they need the win, I think this is a derby, and the Cincinnati Bengals, although haven't had a great season, they've still got some key elements, and this is a game that they could very easily win as well. So it's a potential banana skin for the Ravens. I think they'll take it seriously, but I still think that's an inflated line. That's a line because you think one team's got something to play for and the other team hasn't. But I think that line should be like 6.5, maybe not 9.5. So I would be taking the Bengals plus 9.5 points. What do you think, fellas?
I absolutely agree. It still surprises me that the Bengals have won 6 games this season. However, because I think they're one of the worst teams in the NFL.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Personally, as well, Mixon again hasn't practiced most of this week. Who's quite a threat for them at running back. But yeah, I'd be taking this bet on. Easy as that. So you
would be with the Ravens minus 9.5 points.
Yeah.
Do you think the Ravens win by more than 10 points?
No, I don't. Sorry, I'm just saying I don't rate the Bengals. But I think again, the Ravens will just do what they've got to do. They'll just get the game won. At this point in the season, you could say it for every game. Teams don't want to be pushing too hard. There will be a thought on maybe the next game at times, which obviously takes the focus off slightly. You could say that for every game that has playoff kind of emphasis to it.
And do you think there's anything to do? Sorry, Nick, what do you think about the game?
I agree. No. Well, I think for the other reason, Bengals, I'm actually surprised they've only won 6. Okay. And I think maybe that's going to play into it. I think they're going to be angry. You want to, you don't want to end the season on a loss. And as you said, it is a rival.
It's a real rivalry. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. And no one knows. It was announced last week that Marv Lewis was going to leave, and then he sort of said, "No, I'm not leaving. I'm not going anywhere." Yeah. So there's a bit of uncertainty. So the team could be playing for Marv Lewis. They could be playing for the next coach. I mean, you've got Andy Dalton there. I mean, I think he's good enough to keep the starter's job, but he's got still stuff to prove. He's got AJ Green still out there, so it's a proper team, even though they've not played to their potential this year. So I mean, I think 9.5 points is too big. So we're both in agreement again. We're all both. We're both when there's 3 of us. That's why Simon does the show normally.
Let's see with the numbers.
I like the matchup between Green and the Ravens safety. I think that would be interesting to watch. That'd be my big pick for the game.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, this is a potential trap game for the Ravens. They need to concentrate hard. I mean, I do think they will get it done, but I think this will be a little bit of a scary show for their fans. I think it's not going to be the walk in the park that the line suggests.
Which might not be a bad thing going into the playoffs.
Well, this could, if they make the playoffs, which I think they will, this could have a feel of the 2012 team. No one wants to play them. I think they're the one team that New England won't want to see coming to their place, by the way, is the Ravens. Well, I don't know, Garoppolo took your boys apart last week, so let's have a see.
That was a one-off, don't worry.
So it's the line is 4. Panthers are 4 points underdogs. It's Panthers 11-4, Falcons are 9-6. Personally, I think that they've got this line the wrong way around. The guys out in Vegas, because the Panthers, first of all, they've got a better winning record. I think that they still want a chance of trying to be at home during the playoffs. I think that Cam Newton is starting to look like the MVP player that he did a few seasons ago. He's really starting to use his legs more. At the start of the season, he was staying in the pocket, and it was exposing him a little bit. Now he's using his legs. He was awesome last week. I think he ran in a touchdown as well. I can't remember the yardage he got, but it was 212 yards. Sure. So and the Falcons are suspect against the run. So I think that if you're going to give me the Panthers plus 4 points when the Falcons must win.
That's it.
And I think that's a lot of pressure on them. They must win, and I just think that plays into the Panthers' hands. What do you think, fellas?
I think you're absolutely right. They're coming into form at the right time. Their threat on offense is actually kind of completely underrated at the moment. Yeah. People talk about Cam Newton all the time, but you've got McCaffrey, you've got Olsen, you've got Stewart as well. Yeah. Plus they're number 2, number 3 ranked defense in the league. Yeah. The only thing that slightly plays into the Falcons' hands for me is that Julius Peppers, I think, is inactive for the game, which gives Foreman maybe something around the edge. He started to look good again this week, so that's the only thing that I think the Falcons could exploit for me, plus the fact they've got Julio Jones.
And that's it. And for me, it's the fact it is a must-win. I mean, they got nothing left to play for. They got to go for everything. So I think there's going to be a lot of points, which won't help Carolina. So I'm actually going to go with Atlanta for this one.
You're going to go with the Falcons, okay? Yeah. Falcons -4. So we've got. I think it's the first time the panels disagreed. No, we had an earlier one where you disagreed as well, but there's a lot less disagreement now. Simon's not on the show. Watch yourself, Simon. These guys are agreeing with me a lot more. But so this is the Saints -6.5 points at the Buccaneers. Saints are 11-4. Bucks are 4-11. Again, I think the Saints, they're going to want to have home field advantage. They know if the Panthers win, they could clinch the division. So I think that the Saints are going to go hard at this. I also think that the Bucks are not a very good team, even though they've had 2 games where it seems like they've improved against the Falcons. I think the Falcons were lucky actually on that game on the Thursday Night Football to win that one. And then last week against the Panthers, they gave the Panthers a good game, but I think that was almost their Super Bowl, like we keep saying. Yeah. I think the Saints are going to go in. The Panthers are something like the Bucks. I mean, are 24th against the run, and they are the worst defense against the pass. Well, you've got Drew Brees, and you've got the sensational running back who's actually he's playing like he's a wide receiver. He catches like a wide receiver. So I think that this has got the Bucks the Bucks will get blown out by the Saints myself. So
big time. I agree. Yeah. Sorry.
So well, with that against the run, the Saints, they have 2 running backs that made the Pro Bowl. So I mean, if they can't stop the run or the pass, that's the Saints all over, isn't it? Or that's good for the Saints rather. The only thing that worries me is the Saints are 4-3 on the road. which I was a bit surprised at. But I mean, it's Tampa Bay. I don't rate them either. So
Yeah.
I think the Saints will put up a hell of a lot of points.
Plus, again, uncertainty around their coach as well. Dirk
Yeah.
Cutter, they're saying, is probably going to leave at the end of the season. I think, like what you say about the Ravens, I think the Saints are big outsiders actually to go all the way. I mean, the running threat is huge. I mean, it's just like what we say about the Panthers.
Yeah, Alvin Kamara
with McCaffrey and Newton, but and then you've got the master behind the line of scrimmage as well. You know, he's
and I think
he's
it's an interesting point. You know, the Eagles sitting there number one with Nick Foles is not the same proposition. So whereas if you know, before the injury to Wentz, I'd have been going, well, I'd fancy the Eagles for that. I would fancy, I think there's a lot of teams would be going, I don't mind going, we don't mind going into Philadelphia
I don't
with
think
Nick Foles.
is that bad. And
No, I don't think it's that bad, but
I know what you mean. It's definitely a step down. They wouldn't be in the position if they had Foles all year long.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I agree with that. But the Saints, I don't know, something about them I don't trust going deep into the playoffs.
Yeah.
But they are dangerous.
And well, I think if they get their first game at home, you know, no one likes going into, well, I like going into New Orleans, it's a great city, but no one likes going to play the Saints at the Mercedes Dome. So, you know, I think that will get them through. And if they're going through as the lowest seed going to Philadelphia, I would fancy their chances there at the moment as well. So
yeah, I agree with
their atmosphere last week at that Superdome was absolutely amazing. I think what's quite good about the Saints is that you've got the experience of Breeze, who's been there and done it before. He's got a ring. He's been the whole way, and then you've just got this complete fearlessness to the side of him in Kamara and Ingram, who will take anyone to pieces.
And Marshawn Lattimore is just, you know, and that D line is pretty impressive as well. So I think James Winston has been sacked 31 times this year, and I think he's going to get sacked a few
That's his
times.
line. Yeah, he's a guy in form actually now, and that's probably more to do with his line.
Hopefully we won't see the eating of the W, which we saw.
I want to see the eating of the W. I've missed
Let's
it.
eat a win. So, yeah. So it's New Year coming up. You got any New Year's resolutions, fellas, coming up? I by the way, I've just dropped them on this. They've got no idea I was going to ask them this question. Any New Year's resolutions?
I don't know. What about you?
More Tinder?
More Tinder. I don't think you can get any more. The line we've got over 63 for the year, so you go there.
I'm gonna start betting more with you guys. You tell me that's what I should be doing. So.
Look at this for an advert as well.
Sorry.
So
obvious plug.
You've got how many more magazines you got coming up? Gridiron magazines.
So we got one out today.
Yeah.
Which is brilliant. Route to the NFL. Our guys recently were out in America, going around high schools and colleges and meeting guys who are the next prospects for colleges and then for the draft. That's out today, and then we've got one that comes out 2 days before the Super Bowl on the 2nd of February. Then we've got a Super Bowl review then at the end of February, and then we have a draft preview as well. So it's all the exciting ones to come.
Oh, great stuff. And Nick, you find Nick is our, as I said before, our NBA expert. You'll find him on RedZoneSports.Bet giving you betting advice on the NBA most days, actually. And you've been going quite well recently, Nick.
It has. Lately been really good, which means it's going to fall apart soon.
Yeah. The only thing is I would say, ladies and gentlemen, watch out when he picks the Knicks or the Jets, because he's a terrible homer.
This is true. This is true.
I'm going to watch the Knicks in a few weeks.
I love it.
Well, in a month or so.
There you go.
Madison
Perfect.
Square Garden.
I hope they're playing a
Place
good
to
team.
bet.
So,
Playing the Bucks, I think.
Good. Good to see the Knicks.
Yeah.
That's good.
So
That'll be a good game.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, wishing you a happy New Year. We'll see you in the new year, where Simon will be back in the big chair and I'll be back on the panel talking some rubbish like these guys. So thanks very much, and catch you next time.
American football and my hot cheerleaders. It'll make you feel like a Yank. RedZoneSports.Bet, the British home of American sports.